episode of Here's What I Don't Get is brought to you in part by Memorial Day. Memorial Day. It's all those people that like fought and died for our country to make sure we could live in freedom. Fuck them. They don't fucking matter. What this day is really about is about barbecues and mattress sales and sales at all the fucking corporate places. You should be spending money. What better way to honor the dead than by just fucking blowing every dollar that's ever come into your pocket on stupid shit that you absolutely don't need? Memorial Day. Go fuck yourself. Hello and welcome back to Here's What I Don't Get. From north to south, east to west, the only intercontinental podcast to tackle all of life's toughest issues and the longest consecutively running podcast on the See You Next Tuesday podcast network and the longest running YouTube show on the See You Next Tuesday podcast network that's still allowed on YouTube. I'm your host, Ted Burton. With me today from the great red state of North Carolina, it's Uncle Buck.
Yeah. Hello.
How's it going, buddy?
I am actually in a good mood. I'm having a good time. In honor of grilling out, I'm wearing the season 2 hat.
Yeah.
So for anyone who's not watching the video, get the video. How are you? But like I'm doing good. I'm in a good mood. I'm not overly angry, but I'm just angry enough.
Yeah.
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 So,
I'm pretty worn out. I was telling you before we hit record, this is my first day off since May 14th. It's just been like nonstop. And this week I overcommitted myself way too bad. So I did a bunch of I did 40 hours at my regular job, stripping the theater for this renovation that started on Monday. And then I had spent 40 hours at another theater doing this dance competition the last 3 days. And that was fucking brutal. Holy shit, that was brutal. But it wasn't a lot of work. It was just like you had to be there. So I was present and accounted for. But what really annoys me is that it's Memorial Day this week. This isn't even like a don't get. This is just a pre-show. It's Memorial Day this week, and everybody's talking about how veterans only get 2 days, and then fucking Pride Month gets a whole month because that starts in fucking 2 days. Get out the rainbow flag. Here's our Don't Get logo. We got to represent ourselves for Pride Month. Every fucking corporation on the face of the planet needs to let you know that you're accepted and inclusified, because apparently you still don't know that you can be gay in the year 2023. But what really drives me nuts is like Memorial Day is supposed to be this day of prayer and like rest, and you're supposed to reflect on the things that came before us. And we've absolutely given up that in favor of a corporatized version of it, which is like, get out to the weekend only Memorial Day sale at Mathis Brothers. Get a new sofa, get a new mattress, get a new grill, get a new this, get a new that. Go out and fucking party, and you don't shoot off fireworks like 4th of July, but it's the start of the summer season. So, head out to the beach, get like your first weekend at your beach house. And I'm just so fucking tired of everything in the world needing to be at the service of corporations, and we can't have. I mean, this is my fundamental problem with what Christmas is that Christmas is this holiday that's supposedly religious that's just been like morphed and transformed by demons into a horrible consumerist holiday. And they've done it to all the holidays basically. Like Memorial Day is about nothing. Yeah. I'm the corporate social media manager. Before I leave for my 3-day weekend on Friday at 1 p.m, let me program my Memorial Day post to go up, which is just a generic photo of an American flag and a little short text about how we thank all the service members who fought for this country. And then they go off and fucking drink themselves to death for an entire weekend. And it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't actually, those people don't mean it. It doesn't mean anything to anyone. It's just a thing that they do because that's what they expect you to do, like a fucking Google Doodle. It just needs to be there. We have to put out our Memorial Day social media post. Otherwise, people will think we hate America. It's like, well, you kind of do hate America, because every other day of the year when you're not going like you're not jerking yourself off silly about how much you love the troops, you're doing absolutely everything you can to fundamentally ruin our country. So get fucked to death, every fucking one of you. Go fucking stay home for a day and think about what you owe the people that died before you. And think about what you will do when fucking the Civil War breaks out and we come into your homes, you sons of bitches.
Speaking of being American, this week's episode of Here's What I Don't Get is brought to you by Focusrite. They're definitely the sponsor. I'm joking. I do want
I'm so annoyed.
I do want to say at the top of the show, I want to say a big thank you to the listeners. This is not a bit. This is not a gag. So I've been on the show, and you and I were talking about this right before we hit record. I've been on the show back for about a year ish.
10 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something I've been wanting to do since I bought my very first interface, which is a Scarlett 18i20. I bought it. I've done all the podcast recording with it. I have the box here just for shits and giggles. But I for recording music, like it's got 8 inputs, right?
Mm-hmm.
For recording drums, you can get away with 8 inputs, but if you want your drums to sound nice and dynamic, you tend to have more microphones around. You get both sides of certain things, So 8 inputs ends up not really being enough. So I really, for years, probably like since 2014, I've wanted to buy the little adapter or the little expansion for my interface, which is called the Octo Pre. Octo meaning eight more inputs, but they're expensive, prohibitively expensive, at least for me. I'm perennially broke, and but when I came back on the show, I hatched this plan that I was going to put back my little bit of money from the Patreon I got every month and just save it up and save it up until I could afford one big ticket item. And I just want to say thank you to the listeners. It finally happened. Christmas came this week, and I finally have my Octopree. I sent you a picture. I don't know if you can bring that on the stream or not. Of my
Uh, I no, I can't because I shut down Signal when I restarted my computer because I had to update before I started the show.
That's fine, but maybe I'll post it in the Discord or something. But I finally have all 16 inputs. So my band Overmortal now has plans for recording a nicer sounding EP with real drums, and I'm excited. And I just want to say thank you to the listeners for that. There it is, right there. You can see on the top there the regular interface that I've been using for years and years underneath the laptop, and then below that, all those extra inputs. And prior to hitting record, the microphone was actually plugged into that extra interface just because, but it turns out Tab couldn't hear that one. So that's my podcasting setup, by the way. So I just want to say thank you to all the
like
listeners.
that it's on the TV tray. That's
Yeah. Well, I have to move it out of the
extreme
way.
Uncle Buck fashion.
Well, I have to be able to move it out of the way for band practice.
Yeah.
And I could, in years past, I would have sat at my desk over there to do a podcast, but then the back of the room would just be kind of boring that way. And I like this backdrop a lot more. So
yeah, I think I'm
instead
getting
of
a new desk for my basement and gonna get rid of the 2 desks I'm using now. I might try and do that this week before Tim gets here.
I mean,
By the way, not next week's episode, but the week after, Tim will be live in studio in the city of St. Louis.
that's awesome.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
That's very awesome. So anyway, that's my thank you to the listeners. It's been a great wish of mine to have this, and now I have it, and I don't know what to do now. I guess I'm going to kill myself now that I've accomplished my
the
dream.
only thing you can do. Yeah,
I've done every. What else is there? Bang.
I did a jazz show a couple months ago, and there was this the drummer had like a little jazz combo kit, right? So it was like a kick, a rack tom, a floor tom, snare, and a couple of cymbals, 2 cymbals basically, and his hi hat. And so he comes in, and I'm setting up all my mics, and he's like, "We can get all this with just 2 overheads, right?" And I said, "Maybe." And I put a top and bottom on a snare. He had his kick. I didn't have a mic inside his kick because I didn't have one of those. I had both toms individually mic'd and all the cymbals individually mic'd. Sounded fucking great. I was micing that kit not for the show, but just for my own entertainment because I wanted to mix the show really well. So I thought that was. I understand what you mean when you're like, I wish I had more than 8 inputs for drums because yeah, you absolutely want as many as you can get.
Well, like most kits have like one on the snare. If you have one on each tom, which is in my case 3. Russ has 3 toms over there. One on the kick, maybe one on the hi hat if you're into that kind of thing, which usually you don't need that, and then at least 2 overheads. And I can do that on my old interface, but then like you miss some of the nuance of the snare. You either have to pick one, the top or the bottom, and I would prefer to have both. And even with a ported kick head, like you get either the kick, the whole side or the batter side, and I want both. And so we're going to do that. And we're going to set up like 8 room mics because fuck you. I want to capture all of the weirdness of this room because why wouldn't I?
I want to get rid of the room as much as possible whenever I record.
Normally we do, but I don't know. So there's a real thick carpet in this room, but the walls just like bounce sound everywhere. I might put up some blankets or something.
God, I got a fucking email about a musical that's in my theater in the fall, theoretically, and they were like, "Yeah, so we can put the band all the way against the back wall and then behind the RP screen. That'll be fine, right?" And I was like, "Well,
Then you hear the
no."
wall.
Yeah, I was like, "You'd be really a lot better off if you hung some curtains off of that pipe that's up there so that they're not directly against a back wall. And also, my RP screen doesn't move." And then he sends me back this, which I don't know where he fucking got it, but he got the new line set schedule that's the part of the renovation. He's like, they don't show an RP screen on this line set schedule, so I assumed that it could move anywhere at once. And I was like, well, you should really, I don't know how you got that because you're not fucking part of the renovation, so you shouldn't be getting renovation materials. And number two, it is on that. They just called it a psych, not an RP screen. So if you could kindly go fuck yourself. And then finally, another person who's been there a lot longer than I is on the design team that's been working in that theater a lot longer than I have. He comes in and goes, "Yeah, that RP screen's been in the same spot for the last 12 years since they hung it. Like they hung it up 12 years ago and it has not fucking moved." And I was like, "Yeah, because it's impossible. It would be a day. It would be a day both directions, and we don't have a day both directions."
Yeah. We don't do things like that for no reason. So your idea doesn't work.
Yeah. Please feel free to go fuck yourself.
Yeah. I agree.
Sincerely.
So that's my thank you.
Well, yeah, thank you to the fans for getting Buck's system upgraded. And we'll thank you again. That's what Memorial Day should really be about. It should be about the Here's What I Don't Get fans, the unsung heroes of the internet.
The fans who allow me to live out fantasies that I couldn't afford, like affording things and having not broke.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Even so, Aunt Buck, normally when I am jonesing for some sort of new piece of gear, like she's not negative, but I can tell when she's not excited about me. Like how much is that going to cost? Like, oh, about $400. But it's like she saw the level of giddy and excited I was whenever you sent me that the last couple months payment. And I was like, and then I found it on eBay. And here's the other thing: I thought I was getting a used one, and it was listed used, and it was fucking brand spanking new in the box.
Oh, nice.
I was like,
I think they legally have to. They legally have to say that it's used, even if it's sealed and has never actually been used.
Well, so new they're like $600, and I got this one for just over $400, and I was like, oh, and I was like, man, I'm afraid the cables aren't going to come with it, or I'm afraid it's going to come all beat up, or no, it was brand new in the box. I was like a kid at Christmas, and Aunt Buck was genuinely excited to see me like that. She's like, oh my gosh, you're like so happy about this. I was like, yes, I wanted this in 2014.
It comes in, you open up the box, and the top of it has just been like slammed in with a sledgehammer. Just one good sledgehammer blow where you can see the ring of the head of the hammer, and it's like lightly used.
Or you pick it up and you shake it and it rattles. Yeah.
I'm gonna run upstairs because I got something very special off of eBay this week as well.
Go ahead. Yep. Well, I just want to be cool kids, rock stars. I don't have a pick.
So I haven't wanted this as for 10 years, as you have with the interface that you have. But since I discovered of its existence, I wanted one, and I finally found one for a more reasonable price than the first one that I saw, and that is the Rhinestone soundtrack on 8-track cassette.
On 8-track, nice. Do you even have an 8-track player?
No.
Are you planning on getting one, or is that just a showpiece?
No, this is just a showpiece.
Okay.
The first one that I found was like $350.
Holy shit!
Well, no, sorry, it was $350 the last time it got posted. It started at $400, and like would go down $10 every time that guy posted. And it's like, no one's fucking buying the Rhinestone soundtrack for $400. I'm the only customer of the 8-track Rhinestone soundtrack. That's it. So this one finally popped up, and it was like $25 or something plus some shipping. So
tell that guy to go fuck himself all the way in the butt.
yeah, it popped up. I was because I'll go search Rhinestone on eBay probably once a week or once every other week, and I'm scrolling like 8-track $24. Click buy now, log into PayPal, pay, shipping address done. All right.
There needs to be like a buy faster button when you find something like that. Like there's buy now, there's like no like yank them out of their chair right now. Like click.
Yeah.
Like
what? There, I'll pay an additional fee for you to get off your ass and head to the post office right this moment. I don't care. It's 11:30 at night.
I'll pay like a drug mule to bring it straight to my house. Like,
Yeah.
I want this thing 10 minutes from now. Like I want it immediately. I want it all.
It's in pretty good condition. I want to buy some of those, like, you know, the cheap, they look like shelves, but they're, you know, you just hang them up with nails. I want to buy a bunch of those and put up a wall that's like Rhinestone on DVD, Rhinestone on VHS, Rhinestone on Betamax, Rhinestone on CED, Rhinestone on Laserdisc, Rhinestone soundtrack on CD, on cassette, on 8-track, on record, and then with the poster in the middle.
See, I would think you would want like a movie rental shelf.
With them all lined up.
Yeah, like all of your copies of Rhinestone just lined up with empty boxes behind them. Like you just have so many in stock.
I did when I went and saw Tony in Philadelphia. I gave him a Rhinestone tape to put on his set. So
did he?
Yeah, it's in the episode we recorded. I don't know if that episode will ever come out. I did use a lot of racial slurs.
Well, such as things are.
Yeah. Anyway, well, are you ready to jump into some issues?
Let's do it, man. Who's going first?
You're going first.
All right. Well, here's what I don't get. Poorly timed relief. So you guys, I like that I filter all of my life's comings and goings through the Signal chat, as opposed to anywhere else. You guys have become my inner circle of things that piss me off or things that bring me joy. You remember, I guess it was a week, maybe 2 weeks ago, I mentioned that I had started getting more wrong number calls.
Yeah.
And for the listeners, so how long ago was it? December or something? Someone called me thinking I was somebody else and said I was unprofessional.
Yes.
And so one day, out of the clear blue sky, I started getting text messages and phone calls to the tunes of like 10 per hour each for some dude named Jonathan from financial institutes. Hey, this is like I'd let him go to voicemail sometimes. One or two, the first couple I picked up, like, what's going on here? Like, hey, Jonathan, this is Shake Blakely with financial toilet bowl finances, and we're calling you back about your application you filled out. I was like, wrong number. I'm not Jonathan. I'm Uncle Buck. So I would say, oh well, thank you very much, and then I'd get like another call immediately from, hi, this is Shelly Belly with not toilet bowl financial, and where is this Jonathan? Like, no, I'm not Jonathan. And then I get 4 or 5 text messages. You've been added to this list because blah blah blah. Jonathan, hi Jonathan, we've been trying to reach you. Blah, blah. I'm like, motherfucker, I'm not Jonathan. So and it started getting on my nerves to the point that I just started answering the phone. I'm not Jonathan. And then it slowly began to grow from there. Like, I'm not Jonathan. Also, fire your data broker, right?
Yeah.
Like whatever. Like, I would start going these longer and longer rants before the moment of inspiration hit me, and I was like, why am I not setting up my phone? And it was always, of course, as always, I'm on third shift right now. It was always like right after I laid down. So they'd start at like 8 a.m. and they'd go for like till 2 or even later sometimes. So they're ruining my sleep, and I'm not going to turn my phone off in case like Aunt Buck has an emergency or something. So I'm
set
getting
up do not disturb on your phone.
Yeah, but that requires effort, and I don't have any left. So finally inspiration struck, and I was like, why am I not coming home, hooking my phone up to my laptop, to my interface, and just like recording? Because you've done that in the past. Like you've recorded calls and
Yeah.
things. I was like, man, this would just be great. And then just and absolutely just start fucking with people. I would have like some sort of a stinger set up, some sort of a radio music stinger. I would have a laugh track at the push of a button. Be like, oh, well, now back to the phone lines. Caller, you're on the air. And then just wait and see what they had to say. Hi, Jonathan. No, caller, you've reached the gay butt sex hour. Thank you for calling our line. So go ahead with your gay butt sex story. And just like really see, or whatever cockamamie thing came up at the time, and just really see what happened. And unfortunately, and you even gave me an app to download on my phone that would record,
Yeah.
uh, which,
Both sides.
which by the way didn't work.
Mm.
Uh, so anyway, but just as I was getting set up for this, the calls stopped. Like
Bummer.
literally, when you sent me that link for that app, I never got another call.
Of course
So
not.
yeah, the relief came, but it was poorly timed. I just, man, if I had just thought earlier in my frustration that this would be great for content, and I could, I get all my dongles together and all my bullshit like I used to have doing the show. I used to have like soundboards and all this stuff. We could do whatever, whatever. If I had just thought like 24 hours ahead of time, I could make this funny,
Yeah.
but I didn't.
It's
And
like
then
it's like when you get
my
offered a
chance was
ride, but
gone.
you're already late.
Yeah, or when you got 10,000 spoons, but all you need is
All
a
you need is
knife.
a knife. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that song too. I was a teenager in the 90s trying that
Uh,
shit on me.
uh, I the I hate when you like finally solve a problem. You get like it's not that you've solved a problem; it's that you've finally turned your mental like faculties away from I'm going to solve this problem to I'm just going to turn this into something of my for my own entertainment. And just like that quick turnaround, and then it either fixes itself or it stops happening. Like I had a really good time yelling at telemarketers, telling them to kill themselves and everything. But then they
Yeah,
like went into the system and they put a note in my number, I guess, that was like, this guy just fucks with us. Rather than delete the number from the call list, they would still call, but I would answer. I would be ready to fuck with them, and then they would just hang up the phone. And so it lost all its funness while still wasting my time.
yeah,
And that was why I ended up switching over to that Robo Killer app that just does it for me. Like, and it has these answer bots that will fuck with them for you, but like none of them ever work because they just hang up the phone. So it's really just a call blocking thing. And like I'll go into my phone and it'll just be like, you missed 30 calls today. And they were all scam calls that weren't actually a people.
yeah, yeah. I do have one modicum of hope though.
Yeah.
And I've had this idea for this issue on the burner for a couple days now. This morning, I got a text message for Jonathan. And I
Yeah.
was like, the day may come again. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe tomorrow morning I get home and I slap together some sort of recording apparatus so that I can. I need ideas. The gay butt sex hour is a fun one, but I
Yeah.
really need something even worse. Like,
Oh, I just tell them the person's dead. Like I remember, this is a long time ago. This is like when I was in high school, and I had
oh
just
wait,
got.
wait, wait, wait! Pretend to be an officer.
Yeah.
This is Officer Buck with the Statesville Police Department. How do you know the deceased?
Yeah.
Where were you on the night of?
That's a Tom Mabe one. Yeah. I was in high school. I had just gotten my phone number, and I kept getting phone calls for this guy John. And I was like, "Hey, is John there?" And I'd be like, "No, there's no one named John." Oh, sorry. And then it would hang up, and it always sounded like an inebriated guy. And so finally one day I'd had enough, and the guy calls, and I go, John died, and and then I had a conversation with this guy about, and he was like, "Oh, I'm real sorry to hear that. How'd he die?" And I'm just making everything up as I go, and then he never called again. And I can only imagine that he didn't know John very well because you would think he would run into someone out at the store or like a friend like, "Your John died," and they go, "What are you talking about, you fucking idiot?"
Wait, but you wouldn't hear about that one.
You wouldn't hear about well, I wouldn't hear about it, but I would assume that then he would start calling again.
Maybe I don't know. Like
Yeah.
Or maybe he's like got the hint. Unless you got him like good and like inebriated again, and he called back to cuss you out, and then like now it's fun.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna have fun because now you can be whatever.
Act like an angry gay lover and accuse the caller of being the other man. That's fucking funny.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Uh,
I told you to stay away from me, girl.
yeah, it's like the other side of poorly timed relief is when someone comes to like when you're in a work situation and someone comes to give you a break, but it's like
When
45
you're
minutes
done.
before your shift ends anyway. So you're like, well, yeah, I guess I could take a 15-minute break and then come back here for half an hour, or I could just fucking push through the next 45 minutes and not fucking talk to any of you. So
Yeah.
please just leave me alone.
There was a situation at my job that used to happen a lot, where poorly timed relief was definitely a big factor.
Yeah.
Um, when I was running the palletizer machine on the forklift, sometimes those pallets on the outfeed would fall over. That's like
Mm-hmm.
40 bags at 50 pounds a pop that you have to restack. And it takes a little while, and it's heavy work, and so you're down there sweating, and it's usually the job of the packers to kind of, when they notice your lines down, come and help you get the things back going again. Sometimes you got to take a busted pallet out or whatever. Sometimes there's a mess to clean up. Sometimes you got to fix equipment. And so they're supposed to go down there and like lend a hand to kind of get things going a little quicker. But what I noticed was they always showed up after I was done restacking the pallet by
Yeah.
myself. After my lower back was already aching, and I'd have to do this 3 or 4 times a day. And so finally I started noticing that the little motherfuckers would, one in particular, Marcus, would come like peek around the corner to see if I was done down stacking the pallet or not. And when I was done, he'd finally pop his head around. Oh, sorry, bud. I see you're already done. Like, you motherfucker, you little. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
That's a definitely one that happens. When they show up, someone shows up and just like kind of, especially when they were supposed to be there. It's like, oh yeah, I'll
yeah,
come help you guys do this thing, and then in the last 5 minutes, then they show up and they just kind of derail the whole thing. It's like, yeah, why don't you just fuck off? Why don't you just go back to where you were? People dodging doing their job really piss me off.
yeah. There's a lot of that where I work.
Yeah, there's a lot of that
Oh,
where
I'm
everyone
sorry.
works.
I'm sorry. I missed it. I was down there cleaning up a mess by my thing, and I sorry I missed yours. Well, at least we're back up and running now. And
Hmm.
immediately it would happen again. Just man, there's a lot of reasons why I hated that job. Like just
You guys need radios. That way you could just be like,
we have
uh,
radios.
oh, they just ignore them.
My dad used to have this saying about this particular friend of his, and I found there's a lot of people that it rings true about. He would say about this one guy, you couldn't hang enough cell phones and radios and pagers on that guy to get a hold of him when
Yeah,
he doesn't want to be gotten a hold of.
yeah,
Like there's certain people you can be like, hey, I've already said Marcus. Hey Marcus, can you come give me a hand? Fucking silence. Absolute dead silence. How about you, Marcus? How about you, Marcus? Hey Marcus. Anybody got eyes on Marcus? Marcus, what's your 20? Which means what's your location?
yeah,
Walk down there, fucking ghost. He's gone. He saw me coming a mile away. He's hid somewhere. And he's not the only one that does this.
yeah.
After
We used to work with this guy Pockets, who I've talked about on the show before. That was like he's the master. I've never met anyone so adept at not working.
yeah,
Like to the point where, like, I've definitely had my fair share of fuck off days at work. Like I work in theater. There's a lot of like this fucking weekend. I was doing this dance show. I came in. My call was 6 a.m. on Saturday. By 7:30, we've set the one lighting look for the day, and it's like, all right, we're gonna take the house lights out at the top of the show, and then they're just gonna like sit at a low glow for the rest of the day. That was 8 a.m. that I took the house lights down. I didn't turn them back on until almost 10 at night.
that's a
And I
long
didn't,
day.
yeah, I didn't have any fucking supervision. So I fucking fell asleep in the light booth. And then when I woke up, I was like, what time is it? It's only 10 a.m. They're still going. All right, well, let me go let me read. I read, I ate, I watched some YouTube videos. Like, I just fucked off all day. I was just on the clock. But at a certain point, you kind of get bored of fucking off all day. And this guy never did. He never did. He never even did work as like just something to pass the time while he was stuck there. It's like, I don't need to work today.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point. There does come a point where like you get bored enough that you like find something to do.
Mm-hmm.
that's accidentally productive. And there are some people who will go out of their way to avoid doing even that.
Yeah, their brains are like not made correctly to help thy fellow man, I guess.
Yeah. So that's that issue.
Well, that's a good issue, and we're kind of changing up the format this week because we're doing some extra issues. So here's what I don't get: enlisting in 2023. So one of the other events I did this weekend was, or this not this weekend, this
You
week was
enlisted?
a no. I did a it was an Air Force band performance at this theater that I don't work at. It's not my normal one. So I went and did it as the lighting guy, which again there was nothing to do, and but like halfway through the show, they just stop it to do this whole enlistment pitch thing.
Their sermon.
Yeah, exactly. And the show was way too long for what it was. And the other thing that was obnoxious about it was about halfway through they like did a salute to women. So they like played the theme from Captain Marvel, and they played like the March of the Women Marines and all these other stupid women focused songs. And I was like, who fucking cares? You're supposed to be in a fighting force, and you people are playing musical instruments in the gayest Air Force outfits I've ever seen. Like their uniforms, instead of being the normal, like, normal single breasted suit with the logos and the stripes on their arms and that kind of shit. Instead of that, they were wearing like blue tuxedo jackets that were just covered in medals, little
Because they'd
service
earned all
ribbon
that, yeah.
medals. Yeah, and at post show, I heard one of the musicians talking to some audience member and talking about what the medals were, and the medals were like years of service and where they had played in this Air Force band. And I just thought of that meme, it's the picture of Eisenhower and the picture of one of the generals in Iraq. And it's like won a war, lost a war, and Eisenhower has 3 ribbons. And then the modern guy is just fucking covered in shit. And I was like, I want that meme, except it's Eisenhower won a war and a picture of one of these people with all their ribbons. And it just says, plays clarinet real good. But he stops the show in the middle of the fucking show to give us this enlistment spiel, and he's like, "There's a $40,000 enlistment bonus for certain things." And I was like, $40,000? You're gonna pay someone a teacher's salary just for fucking showing up and being like, "Hey, I'd like to give you 4 years of my life and possibly die."
Yeah, that's that. Well, that's the thing. Like that might be the only 40,000 they ever pay you.
Well, that is true, but it's also like it shows a true level of desperation, which I think is just great because the military has become a fucking joke.
Yeah.
Like they've brought in, they have all of these fucking generals who have no idea what they're doing. They're not leaders, they're politicians. And they're not going to be any fucking help when the fighting actually happens. And then number 2 on that is that we are really moving towards another cultural Vietnam where the left does not respect or value military members because they look down upon them as uneducated rural rednecks who just want to go kill people. Like that's what they think the military is. That's the rhetoric that spreads on the internet. That's why they're totally fine with having Pride last a month and Women's History Month and Black and just like fucking nonstop months for this and that. But then it's just like, oh yeah, you guys have your little weekend, which that's actually your weekend is Memorial Day weekend is just the start of summer. We're gonna have a bunch of sales, and then Veterans Day we'll do some sales. But it's also on one day. And it'll just be a bank holiday. Like schools aren't going to be out. Everything's going to go about as normal. There'll just be a little thing down there in the calendar that says Veterans Day. Go fuck yourself. And so I cannot imagine enlisting in the Army or in any military service branch in the year 2023, no matter how much money they fucking throw at you, because you're not going to be appreciated. You're probably going to go fight a fucking war for global homo. We got fucking World War III looming on the surface, and chances are you're going to be put underneath some diversity hire platoon commander who has no fucking idea how leadership works and just demands the world out of you and coddles the people around you. Like, they're trying to unify the physical fitness test because we can't admit that men and women are different. And so they're creating a fitness test that has to be low enough for women to get it. So that means that fucking fat, out of shape, useless men like myself can just go join too, and then that service is nobody. You have a military that can fight for no one, and
India's paintball league.
especially like we came out of 20 years in Afghanistan, and we gained nothing. We lost 2,000 soldiers in Afghanistan to defeat the Taliban, only to give the country back to them and flee with our tails between our legs and leave piles and piles of munitions and vehicles and other things. Like, is that a group you want to join? A bunch of fuck ups like that?
Well, no, I'm not getting in on that one. I'll get man. This YouTube channel, we will no longer be the longest YouTube channel on the See You Next Tuesday network if I start in on that one, because I will get us
Worth
banned.
The thing is, like, when even if you don't think of it as a military structure and you think of it as like a social group, would you want to join a social group that's made up of a bunch of fucking losers? Like,
No.
you have church groups and stuff. Would you go join a church group if they were like, yeah, we're a church group, we love Jesus, but we also kind of think that like Allah's pretty okay, and we do some of those teachings of Allah, and also, we really respect the Torah, and we don't believe that divorce is bad, and the 10 Commandments are kind of flawed, and like they just kind of undercut everything that they supposedly believe
Oh, you
in
mean
order
the
to get as many
Presbyterian
people
church?
to, yeah, in order to get as many people to join their group as possible. Like that's where the military is in the year 2023.
Yeah, yeah. That church group already exists, where they have the queer lesbian pastors and stuff.
Yeah.
Those that so that's yeah. And no, I don't want anything to do with that. And again, let's just not lose our YouTube channel.
I'm losing it. I'm trying to speed run getting banned from Twitter again. I've been really laying into people, been calling a lot of people retards, calling a lot of people faggots.
Give me the password. I'll have us banned in about 20 minutes.
I tried to sign in on my computer today. I have no idea what I made the password, so I only have it on my phone.
I can give you some tweets.
Yes, go ahead.
I can give you some very incendiary tweets that will get us banned. So
the other, going back to like the divide between liberals and conservatives as far as the value of military service, as our culture has gone more liberal and we have more liberalism in higher options, like the whole lie of the military is that, oh, you'll get on the job training, you'll be able to pivot into a real world job, and in some specific things that's true. Like, yeah, if you go learn to be a welder in the Navy, you can leave and go become a welder not in the Navy. Absolutely. The other thing that you get when you have that lie, though, is that like, oh yeah, you're gonna be a communications specialist and you can go get a job in like telecommunications. But the thing is, so many employers don't value military service as a legitimate experience that can be pivoted into a real world thing. So when they look at your thing and it says doesn't show that you have a BA in communications or a BS or B whatever it is, fucking
no, it's definitely BS.
yeah, a BS in communications from some university, but instead you spent 6 years in the military working in communications. They're like, I'd rather hire this diversity hire woman who just got out of college and kind of has a chip on her shoulder about how we owe her everything, instead of this guy who can actually do it.
What if those are one and the same?
Someone who went to the
military, and they're also a diversity hire, and they're also a gigantic fuck. Listen, I have to be very cautious about things I say about work, but let's just say there's personal anecdotal experience that I'll talk to you about off camera, where somebody that came from the military and brought their military experience was also a diversity hire and was also a gigantic flaming fuck up and has caused a lot of issues, and everyone hates this person, and maybe I personally have gone out of my way to make this person's life a living hell once or twice, just for fun. And this person is now making, last I heard, rumors, trying to fail upwards into a different position to get away from the mess they've created.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, like there's nothing to offer you other than the chance at death, and so why do it?
I
Why
mean, there is the
and
chance of death.
and that's why the numbers are so low. And they're like, they have ads on fucking like there's this ad on Instagram that popped up, and it was some service woman standing there, you know, in the army thing in like a dorm room. It looked like, and they're answering questions from real people. It's like, can you join the army with tattoos? It's like, what? Of course you can fucking join. And then she explains that, like, yeah, you're allowed to have tattoos. They just can't be visible, and just blah 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 blah. And I commented on that, which I rarely comment on Instagram, but I was just like, oh, you mean I can still have tattoos and go fight and die for globo homo across the planet in some shithole country where no one fucking cares about me? Sign me right up.
You see, they're going about this all the wrong way. If they want young people in their late teens and early 20s to sign up for the military right now, sell the chance of dying as a selling point. You're all fucking depressed. Sign up for the military. You might die, or you might come home a hero.
Yeah.
I mean, which is worse? Pick your poison, or which is better? The time that I almost signed up, it was specifically because I might die. So there's that. Like
I've never in my darkest darkness thought about joining the U.S. military because, not because I don't respect the military, but because I don't respect the people that don't go do it, like myself. Like there's all the stories about the people coming home from Vietnam being called baby killers and all that shit. And when the Iraq and Afghanistan wars were breaking out, it was like, we got to support our troops. We can't let them come back to that. And it's like, well, you fucking people did that. Like people like Susan Sarandon, you said those things, and now you're fucking getting up on a platform and saying that we have to treat our troops well. Why don't you get fucked forever? Why don't you get in a fucking space capsule and then diddle yourself as you fly straight into the fucking surface of the moon? It's so two-faced too. Like our culture will hold them up as like vaunted heroes, and then we do nothing to so. Let's say you do find some golden nugget of getting into the military, and by some miracle you get out unscathed. We don't treat our veterans with any respect after the fact. Like the VA, everybody's like, oh, we need to have socialized medicine and single payer healthcare. It's like, yeah, you know who has that? The VA. Do you know what's fucking awful? The VA. It's like everybody has a story, and either they're a service person that has had to go to the VA and has been miserable, or they are friends or family of someone has to go deal with the VA, and they're just like, yeah, this is the worst fucking healthcare system on the planet. And we just accept that, like they're about to pass another fucking $100 trillion in spending, and Marjorie Taylor Greene wants to put in a thing to ban porn from the internet. And it's like, yeah, that's totally gonna work this time, Marjorie, you fucking cunt. Like, why don't you put in there $1 trillion for the VA? Just what's there to lose? Who's gonna fucking vote against it? That's the thing, is like those kinds of things never come up because who could possibly argue against it? You're gonna go on the floor of Congress. Yeah, I'd like to put $1 trillion in the budget for the Veterans Affairs Administration so they can have the best doctors on the planet. What is some fucking senator from California gonna get up and be like, no, fuck those people. I hate our troops. It would fucking pass instantly, unanimous, signed by the president. Who's gonna fucking turn it down? Why don't they do it? Because they don't fucking want to. Because they don't care about you. They want to fucking shuffle money into other stupid bullshit things. They want to fucking Marjorie Taylor Greene knows that won't pass. That you'll never ban pornography from the internet. But she puts that shit in there so that she can go home and be like, I tried to ban pornography from the internet because I'm a conservative woman. And then everyone's going to go like, yay, we love censorship when it's something we agree censoring. But meanwhile, not one fucking person can stand up there, get up in front of Congress and be like, hey, what we're doing is fucked. Here's a bajillion dollars. Unlimited money to the veteran. No, not gonna do it. Fuck you guys. Fuck you guys. You go out there and fight and die for global homo. You fucking die with your fucking face in the shit in some shithole country that not one fucking person in this country gives a shit about. Fucking nation building all across the world. A bunch of people who don't fucking want us there, but will take every fucking cent we have to spend to keep their fucking shithole nations up and running. You're gonna go fucking do that. When you come home, get fucked. We don't give a shit about what you did. That doesn't count towards your employment. Oh, you want health care? Why don't you get a job, you fucking loser? We got it's so fucking ridiculous. And
Well,
then
since
and then they get up, then they fucking pause this fucking concert. And do you know who was at this concert? Not a bunch of young fucking teenagers, bunch of fucking boomers who still think the military stands for something. Bunch of fucking pause the concert. By the way, you can join the Air Force. You can join the Air Force today. There's forms right here. You can join the Air Force. And you know, I play with this marching band. Tab, if I'm fucking getting pitched by the audio engineer on the show that I could join the Air Force as an audio engineer, which is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard of. But yeah, I looked into it, and there is a listing right here. Well, it's actually in Illinois, but it's just across the river, right here in this area. I can go fucking join as an audio engineer, go across the river and become an audio engineer for the
Uncle
U.S. Air
Sam.
Force. Yeah. Wouldn't pay fuck all. It pays fuck all. It's like, well, my job, like, in order, I looked at the numbers, in order to make the same amount of money that I make now, if I were to join the Air Force, I'd have to become a major. And it's like, well, that's not fucking happening.
no,
And
it's
that's
not.
just to break even with where I am at this very moment. That's not to say what happens in 4 years when as I continue to learn and grow. It's like, no, that's a fucking net loss, my guy. I would rather get fucked.
If you join the Air Force, you don't even have a solid chance of dying. What would be the
That's
point?
true. That is true. Yeah.
Like you're not going to go be an audio engineer in Afghanistan.
Well, no, that's the thing is like with the numbers so low, all those fucking trumpeters and audio engineers and shit, when shit gets real bad, they're going to be like, hey, you know how we told you could play the flute while you're here? Well, what about
Play a
instead of
rifle.
playing, instead of the flute, we gave you a rifle, and instead of playing it, you shot at some Russians in the fucking Ukraine.
Go play the
How about
mortar.
no? How about no on that? You're a percussionist, right? Well, a mortar is kind of like a percussion instrument. If instead of like hitting it with sticks, you dropped a thing in the hole and wind exploded over there.
It's like the best kick drum in the world.
It's so it's mind-boggling to me. It's mind-boggling where we've come to, and like our country used to be really proud of the fact that we were an entirely volunteer-based military and all that, until things have started to go south. And I don't know. I kind of feel like we might be seeing another draft in our lifetimes.
You want to know the best part?
You've passed the mark.
I think the oldest you can enlist is 45, and I'm 40.
39.
I'll be. Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, when I was a kid, it was 45. So yeah, I'm already too old. So God bless them. Do it and start the draft. Have fun, buddy.
I'm not fucking going. I'm not fucking fighting for global homo.
You're getting drafted.
Fucking throw my ass in Leavenworth. I ain't doing shit for you people. You thought Maxwell Q Klinger was crazy? I will show you crazy.
We're gonna find Tab down in Paraguay with Joel, trad Catholic, and all of it. It's like, well, it's better than fighting for global. And you two having your conversations down there. Yeah, that'll work.
I could never go Catholic.
Nor could I. But anyway, yeah, that's although I probably would have fun going down there hanging out with him on his compound. I'd go to mass with him.
I go to mass with him. I'm just not a religious type. I don't believe in the religious stuff.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, what else have you got about enlisting in 2023?
Just that that's like, this is a true 100% don't get. I do not like, I would love to stand outside the enlistment center with a microphone and just be like, you know, as people come out and be like, did you enlist today? And then just ask them why, and just interview people to try and understand like what drives them.
You see, you said a microphone, and in my head, I heard a megaphone where you were just going to wait for people to come out the door and be like, "You giant faggot!"
The global homo wants you dead. They hate you and want you dead. By signing up for the armed forces, you are giving into global homo. Do not give into global homo. Normally, I'd be giving this speech in a beer hall, but we don't have any beer halls nearby, so I'm doing it in the parking lot of this Army recruitment station. If you get what I mean.
Yeah.
And then I would go into more details, more of my beer hall pitch. Hence my Bavarian Weiss beer today.
There you go. You can see through the label. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm in front of a green screen and this is yellow, and I guess that's green enough.
Just green enough. There's the title for the
Buck,
episode.
it's a light beer.
Okay. Lighting the loafers beer.
You can see right through it.
Oh, okay. I missed the joke.
Oh, these are dad jokes, everybody. Well, that brings us to the middle of our episode, which means it's time for.
This episode of Here's What I Don't Get is brought to you in part by
Well, Buck, I've got some news stories here. These are from our buddy Alex. Speaking of Bavarian Weiss beers and beer hall pitches, a huge $6.8 million cocaine haul was seized this week. And the way that they identify themselves, like we've all seen, they'll like ecstasy and they'll put like a little cartoon character or something. And, Super Troopers, they use Johnny Chimpo to mark their.
Yeah.
Well, these guys have their own type of logo. It is, of course, the Nazi swastika, and the bricks are stamped with the word Hitler.
How can I get mine?
This is from Tim's Homeland too. Photos released by the Peruvian National Police show two agents, one on a ladder wearing gloves, as they appear to be searching a large shipping container. There are 50 packed things of Nazi cocaine. So, they won. They lost the battle of World War II, but they seem to really be coming back. These Nazis. This article basically just describes the pictures. But Peru's National Commission for Development and Life Without Drugs revealed the country's cocaine production has been on the rise and has played a large role in fueling a cocaine boom across the globe. According to the report, cultivation of coca, the plant used to produce cocaine, is expanding
across the Earth's rotational axis.
Yeah. So yeah, Tim's homies back there in Peru they're making cocaine.
You know what I love about this story? I had this theory a few years ago. I might have talked about it on the show. I might not have. But when everything got compared to Hitler, I did make the joke about literally Hitler.
Yeah.
But I kind of had this feeling like there's going to be a pushback to where people are just going to openly embrace Nazism.
Yeah,
because
here it is.
Just because it's naughty and you're not supposed to. And that eventually it would kind of come full circle. It was like Hitler was just considered based.
Yeah. So did the U-Haul that ran the White House a couple weeks ago?
Mm-hmm.
We all saw the photo, the nicely unfolded Nazi flag outside the U-Haul, because every time I commit crimes, I carry my Nazi flag around. And
as you should.
Yeah. What astounded me. What astounds me about every one of these, where they're like, one, it's like a perfectly crisp folded Nazi flag. It's never been taken out of its package.
Yeah.
But also, I cannot express to you, Buck, how difficult it is to get a Nazi flag. I cannot. And this is as someone who tried, because, like you said, the whole it's just naughty. I read one of the dozens of articles every time they do a theater group does Cabaret or The Sound of Music, or fucking they do a TV show about Nazis or some shit. They will then do an article when the show ends, patting themselves on the back that they destroyed all the Nazi paraphernalia that they had made for the show, as we made this and then we unmade it. Aren't we so great? And I was like, well, surely there's got to be a place where I can just buy Nazi flags if people just have them, and there's not. Can't buy them on Amazon. You can't go to nazis.biz.us and buy Nazi flags. You have to go fucking deep into the internet to find places to buy Nazi flags. And then, of course, I didn't buy one because I was like, well, that's probably a Fed. Probably a Fed trying to sell me a Nazi flag.
Is it a crime to own one?
It's not a crime to own one, but I'm sure it puts you on a list. But whenever I see people with them, and they're like, look at the right with their Nazi flags, I'm like, there's no way. Like, I can get the Canadian Red Ensign, Joel's Nazi flag from his country that's been banned, and my fucking video's all fucked up again. I can get that flag on Amazon, no problem. But you can't get a Nazi flag, so that's kind of weird.
Yeah, I'm sure you can find one somewhere. I'm sure there's reenactment societies where you can find them. Gun shows.
I looked at the last gun show I went to. None.
Because I haven't been to a gun show in probably 15 years, but the last
I go to a gun show every day, Buck. Dad jokes.
Yeah. So the last gun show I went to, not only did it reek of BO and onions, but there was Nazi paraphernalia, honest to God, swastikas everywhere, and it was hilarious. and it was from a historical context. They were like selling M1 Garands and like
Maybe I should go to a smaller gun show than the one I did. Maybe that was the problem.
maybe you should go to one in North Carolina. I mean,
Mm.
you know, maybe like I said, that was probably 15 years ago, and it was weird, and I got really nauseous while I was there. So it is what it is. When I say the stench of BO and onions, I am not joking. It smelled exactly like fat people and spring onions everywhere I went. It was really odd. And bologna, like that really slimy bologna that you get from like a corner store.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
Uh, let me pop this up and see if I can track what's going on. A Washington State man was hospitalized and suffered at least 4 seizures after drinking fluid for sports cars that he mistook for an energy drink. Now you know the NOS, the energy drink.
yeah,
Yeah, this guy drank like actual nitrous oxide for a car because he's
laughing
an
gas,
idiot. Yeah, which I don't really know how he drank it because I would think that it would become a
vapor.
gas when you opened it.
Maybe if it's still super cold, and you just pound it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is going to come with changing laws about being able to buy nitrous oxide for your car because this one guy is so fucking stupid.
I hope not. I think stupid people should be allowed to work themselves out.
Oh, I do too. Urine tests revealed the presence of cannabis in the system as well as drugs typically used for anxiety or insomnia. So, though the patient had no prescription or past medical history, so the real thing is like a guy drugged out of his mind did something stupid. Not this isn't like some guy just walked into the auto parts store and was like, an energy drink, delicious. Like
And
this guy was
you drink
stoned
right
out of his
next to the
mind.
motor oil. Yeah.
And of course, they bury that in like 6 paragraphs to be like, this could happen to your kids. Are there things underneath your kitchen counter that could kill your kids?
Do they have pirate flags on them so kids think it's cool to drink?
Yeah. So I hate the news. Basically, that's where that one goes.
Yeah, I don't have much for that one.
Now, I know we're you and I are both worried as staunch anti-racists that BLM is about to be going under. Right, you heard about this? That BLM they despite billions in donations or millions in donations, they are now almost out of money and they are about to go bankrupt.
I don't believe it.
Well, no, they are almost out of money.
For now, it takes one check from.
Joe Biden.
I was going to say George Soros, but I was trying to gauge whether or not that was going to get us banned from YouTube. But anyway, it would take one check from the Jews to get them back up and running again. And
Did you say the juice like OJ?
Yeah, definitely the Jews. It would take one check.
Hey, everybody, it's your boy the Juice here to support Black Lives Matter.
Like that.
I mean, if you think about it, that is a good partnership because like OJ killed his ex-girlfriend and Black Lives Matter has killed dozens of people across the country.
And OJ's black, so obviously he wants to support killing white women. So he wants to.
The bad news for BLM doesn't end there. BLM co-founder Patrice Cullors was axed by Warner Brothers after failing to produce any of the content she promised, which is insane to me that she I didn't even know that she had been hired by Warner Brothers. I didn't realize Warner Brothers hired a nobody to produce content. Like fucking hire me then, man. I'll produce something, but then, again,
it'll be better than anything else coming out right now.
In pure Black Lives Matter formula, took a bunch of money, produced nothing, and is now just running away with it.
So I have this harebrained scheme just popped into my head. I think you and Tim and I and maybe Joel, include Tony if you like, should all create some sort of a show that write a script, something. Just come up with some sort of idea, fund it privately, and just and it will be better than anything on regular television. And then we just put it out there, and it never gets recognized, and it's just money wasted. But we did it.
We're all white men, yeah.
Especially Tim. We'll just do that, and no one will ever recognize it, and it will get swept under the rug. But at least we will have the self pride of knowing that we did something better than someone else did.
Yeah. Warner Brothers is not reporting the amount of money paid to Colors to do nothing, but given the fact that she was promised to produce multiple series and movies for WB, you can assume it was a huge deal. Uh, she said that she was working on documentaries on how the idea of land back, in which the Native Americans have former tribal lands returned, could work as reparations. Another was on black social mobility in the U.S., so right on target. Colors also said she was working on a scripted project about marijuana and others on female black leaders and what she called the toll of life under a system that doesn't see us or makes us hyper visible and also hyper invisible at the same time. I'm just glad the writer then editorializes and says, "I'm just glad the shows never got made because if they did actually get made, we might have to do stories about them. Watch the clips and write about it for you."
Yeah. Again, things I can't say.
I've got one last story here from Dad Cucks. Angela Adams hadn't pooped for a week and she was getting desperate. The 47-year-old nurse in Florida had been on the popular weight loss drug Wegovy for about a month and fighting one of its side effects, constipation, for just as long. But in March, it got to be the worst. It got to the point where it was kind of scary. My stomach was hurting and I was in pain. She tried stool softeners, milk of magnesia, and at some point, anyway, and then hence her induction to the Shit on the Bed Club, a not particularly exclusive society begrudgingly named by some of the takers of semaglutide, the generic name for weight loss drug Wegovy and diabetes drug Ozempic. Apparently, Ozempic will cause you to eventually shit yourself. And this person isn't alone. On social media, users have found solace by swapping embarrassing moments anonymously. One Reddit thread, people on semaglutide, it tactfully called it sleep shits. I shit myself while sleeping. So, rather than, I don't know, fucking going for a walk, these people are taking weight loss drugs to try and get the fat out of their system, but instead are just shitting their pants. And it's like, this is where we are as a society. We'd much rather shit our bed than do anything to change our lifestyle choices.
So I'd like to take time to recognize this week's sponsor, Rubber Bed Sheets. Yes, that's right, from Rubber Bed Sheets. Anyway,
the original sponsor of the Gay Bud Sex Hour is now the sponsor of Ozempic.
Rubber Bed Sheets.
Anyway,
that could go real south real fast.
That shit's real gross. I wouldn't. Just like every time they have those drugs and they like list all those side effects, you're like, I don't fucking know about that shit. I'm kind of happy with my life not being filled with me shitting my bed. Maybe I could like stop eating ice cream for every meal.
Yeah. Or like, get up and walk somewhere.
Go do literally anything. Yeah.
Go do your laundry.
The Potato News Network.
Shit. Sorry.
Too loud.
Yeah. I was tensed up to push the button, and then I shifted my weight and accidentally pushed the button.
So you shit the bed.
Yeah, I did shit the bed right there. Well, this has been
the Ricada News Network. Definitely not fake news.
That takes care of our legal obligations this week. But you know what doesn't take care of, Buck?
Black market Nazi flags.
And if you want to help us get some black market Nazi flags, you can visit us at subscribestar.com/HWIDG, tip.hwidg.com, and patreon.com/HWIDG. And over there we have 5 tiers. We have the $1 tier, which gets you access to our early access to each week's episode, plus our mini-sodes. We have our $2 tier. We throw the random bits and bobs we do now and again. We have our $5 tier where we do our bonus episodes. Here's what I do get. We drop the hate, talk about what's great. Buck and Choco did one of those a couple weeks ago. We have our $10 tier where you submit a film, you vote on what film we watch, and we watch and record a feature in the commentary. And then finally, we have our $50 Spite Producer tier where you get a say in the show as a Spite Producer if you want a special guest on, or a format change, or to ban a voicemailer, ban someone from the Discord, or change the format of the show for a couple of weeks. Anything that your heart desires that we can reasonably fulfill, we will do so. We want to say thank you to all our patron supporters, big and small. Without your generous support, Buck would not have his Octo Pre thing, and I would not have this lovely copy of Rhinestone's soundtrack on 8-track.
Yeah, this was a Memorial Day special,
as it was meant to be heard. 8-track. But anyway,
8-tracks are weird.
Let's get back to some issues. What is your last issue for this week, Buck?
All right, here's what I don't get: timeshare commercial peddlers. So, you know what a timeshare is?
Yeah, you pay a bunch of money every year to have access to a cabin at the most worst times of year.
that you don't use.
Yeah.
And so Aunt Buck and I just celebrated our 12-year anniversary yesterday, as a matter of fact. But last weekend was when we took our trip. We take at least every couple of years. We'll go out to Tennessee to Pigeon Forge, which is in Sevierville, right there next to Gatlinburg. And there's all sorts of fun little things. It's a tourist trap, right? It's a tourist
Yeah.
trap.
I
And
suspect that might be the actual place where the film Rhinestone was filmed.
well, it is right next to Dollywood. Speaking
Yeah.
of which, a quick aside, we went to the Stampede, Dolly
Mhm.
Parton, which used to be called the Dixie Stampede before they virtue signaled and decided to drop Dixie from their name. So I hate them for that. Also, their ticket prices went up, but they eliminated their pre-show. There used to be this little bluegrass band that would do a pre-show,
Mm-hmm.
and oh look, we got a over here. There would be a little pre-show, this bluegrass band. It was a really good show, and it was part of the fun of going to the Dixie Stampede. And during COVID, they stopped doing that, and it's just gone now. And like the ticket prices did not go down. So when we walked into the little saloon area before the show, expecting to see Biscuit and his bluegrass band, we saw like some animatronic bears sitting on a piano. And I was like, what the fuck is this? What in God's name is going on here? They sell alcohol now. That's their big thing. Oh, we sell alcohol now. Who cares? It's a family thing. I don't want to be blitzed out of my mind watching horses. Okay, so let's
That's
just.
because you love your family. Most people don't love their family.
I didn't even have my kids there. It's just me and Aunt Buck. We were there for our anniversary. We're there to fuck. So anyway, at the Dixie Stampede, and that's
there to get a third kid.
No. I'm way too old for that shit. So anyway, as is our tradition, when we go, we'll always stop in the Walmart as we pull into Sevierville before we go up to our little cabin that we get to grab some essentials. And
lube.
Yeah. No, we don't need that. So anyway, and it's been this way in the past, but now it's especially egregious. You can't go into any storefront anywhere without somebody standing off to the side peddling this little timeshare commercial they want you to go to. Now, when I say timeshare commercial, let me regale you, because we've actually done this twice. They say, "Hey, would you like to have like free tickets to the Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum, or would you like to go have a free meal at Rio's, which is actually in Myrtle Beach, which is a churrascaria, which I learned about through Joel." So anyway, would you like to? And you're like, of course, you're like, I'd like a free meal. What's the downside? All we want you to do is go sit through a small presentation about this, that, and the other through this company. And they're like, sure, I'll spend an hour sitting watching a commercial, whatever. It's not an hour. It's 4. It's 4 hours in a hard sell pitch about, and when I say hard sell, so you sit there and you're like, you know what a timeshare is, but they give you this 3-hour long pitch about what timeshares are, and they never call it that. And then like how this system is revolutionary, how it's going to change your life.
What do they call it? They call it like a mutually
Premium,
invested
vacation. Like a vacation package. And you have different tiers that you can buy, and it's like calling a pyramid scheme multi-level marketing. You know, it's not the same thing, but it is.
They're churching it up.
Yeah. So we did this twice. Once not knowing, and then the second time we were bored, and we were like, "Well, we want that was the time we got to go to Rio's. That was cool because that was like an $80 meal. So that time it was worth it. But it's
$80 each or $80
for the two of us. Rio's is like $40 a pop, but like I said, the churrascaria is where they keep bringing the meat out, and you just eat and eat and eat and eat until you look like me and you're morbidly obese and make jokes about joining the military to die. So anyway, we're kind of over it now, because 4 hours when you have like 2 days to spend without your kids, and to try and like find time to bone, but also to like do things fun together as a couple, because you've been on third shift for months and you literally don't see each other but maybe 15 minutes a day. So you're kind of trying to make the most of your weekend. And this little motherfucker is up your butt every time you go in any store. He's like, hey, sir, can I tell you about, like, no, shut the fuck up, you little prick. Let me shop in peace. And then and what's weird is they know the locals, so they won't bug the locals.
Yeah.
And so I did my best to like find some locals to like sneak in past the little dude. He still picked me out. It's like, what is it going to take to get this little faggot to leave me alone? Am I going to have to
Did he
resort?
have flyers?
Oh, yes.
Oh, you got to take the flyer from him, take it and be like, oh yeah, and then just throw it right on the ground in front of him, and be like, actually, can I have one of those? And do and then and
The Ron
until
Swanson, yeah.
until he's afraid to give it to you, and then you go on, yeah, or just take the whole stack out of his hand and then throw it in the trash.
Just carry a small incinerator in a backpack and just like one of those camping stoves, you know what I'm talking about? The little pocket rocket stoves and just throw it right in there.
I would go to the 4-hour thing and just ruin it. Just ruin it.
Well, I did, but like I don't know, it's the hard sell at the end was also the worst part because then the guy sits you. It's like the guy who was clearly like a quarterback back in high school and a used car salesman, and this is a part-time gig on the weekends, and so he sits you down and he's got like and the guy's like 250 pounds, and you can tell he like used to be a linebacker or something. He puts his hands together like this. So which package do you want today? Like I don't want any package. So you just wasted our time with this 4-hour with this whole presentation and these tickets that we're giving you to Ripley's Believe It or Not Wax Museum. Like, yeah,
Yes.
I wasted your time. Well, why don't you want vacation packages? Like, because at the time we were saving up for a house. He's like, well, then why are you on vacation? I was like, none of your fucking business. Go back to peddling cheap cars, you son of a bitch. So anyway, so they don't allow me at that one anymore, but that one's at Myrtle Beach, so it's fine. Yeah, that's what I don't get. Those guys, they're everywhere. They're ubiquitous. They're as bad as those guys that used.
They're not everywhere. They're in specific areas. Like they're in the places like Myrtle Beach that are tourist traps, or Sevierville, or the Branson here in Missouri is a big one where people will do that. And so yeah, you'll see the like Orlando is a big one. You'll see the signs that are like get free tickets and to different events, and then you got to go sit through their little pitch. My Truckin' and Tuckin', I think, just went to one of those as just something to do one weekend.
So like
I kind of want to go to one now, and I want to go and I want to like short circuit the guy's brain.
Well,
when they get to the hard press and they're like, yeah, do you want this? It's like, no, I don't actually want the tickets either. I just wanted to waste your time because every second you spend talking to me is 1 second you can't con a grandmother out of her retirement savings thinking that, oh, you spend money to like go on vacation in the same place every year. I go to vacation in different places every time I want to go on vacation. That's why vacation packages don't work for me, you fucking moron.
Yeah. I don't go into the specifics. It was basically like you had to a significant chunk of money off of this particular chain of hotels in different places at certain times of the year. So it wasn't strictly a timeshare, but it was a timeshare.
Yeah.
You know, it was a distinction without enough of a difference, I guess. So these guys, I don't know if you remember me bringing this in on the show before. Those little phone peddlers that would hang out at like Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
Remember me talking about that before?
Yeah.
And like Aunt Buck finally started like grabbing me by the arm to usher me past them when they would start, because I would just start hurling obscenities at them as soon as I saw them, and just whatever, like I would just pick out whatever it was about them, something to identify them, like, you red shirt fuck, you motherfucker, I hope you get killed on this away mission, you son of a bitch. So anyway, she kind of started doing the same thing with me with these guys when she knew what was coming, and she saw that look that I get whenever I'm about to start yelling at people. She just like grabbed me by the arm, like, come on, let's just keep going. Let's keep going.
Yeah. The home phone guys, the pop-up kiosk people, anywhere you go. And they're like, sir, may I ask who your internet provider is? No. I had someone come knock on my fucking door the other day and they're like, sir, do you know about whatever the name of this school was? And I said, no, because I'm a single man. I don't have any kids. And they're like, oh, that makes sense. Can you give this flyer to someone who does have kids? I don't fucking know anybody here. I fucking don't even know my neighbor's name. I do know my neighbors, but I was like, I don't fucking know anybody here. I'm not going to pitch a school to someone else. You go do your fucking job.
I'm not doing your job.
You don't have to be mean. I'm like, you fucking woke me from a nap. Fuck you. Get the fuck off my porch. And then he like fucking stormed off down to the next house, up the thing, knocked on the door.
You need like a spitball gun to just hit him every time he goes to someone else's house next to you.
Yeah.
Like from your upstairs window.
I should have stayed on my porch until the other, because like So my street, the houses are all like right in line. So I stand on
Mhm.
my porch and I look left, and I'm just looking into my neighbor's porch. I look right, I'm looking at the other neighbor's porch, and that's where he was going. Was the next one up, and I should have just stood there until he opened the door. And the second he opened the door, and be like, "It's a scam! It's a scam! It's a scam!" But I was like, I really wanted to go back to. I
Back to
was
your nap,
taking like
yeah.
a nice nap when my doorbell rang. Fucker.
Yeah, I get it. Well, at least he didn't ask if you were Jonathan.
That is true. He didn't ask me because I'm not Jonathan. What? How many people do you think fall for that? I mean,
Fall for what? Jonathan?
fall for the fall for the pitch. How many? So you're in a room with like 80 people, right? And then they pull you all aside, one little group at a time. To couples, maybe a couple and a couple of kids or something. And they try and hard sell you.
It has to be enough to justify the effort because
Yeah.
it's like for one of them we went to, they fed us breakfast. It was gross. And it was like, it was worse than the continental breakfast at a hotel, but they fed us like these gravy biscuits that clearly came out of a can, and there might have been some grapes or something, some French toast. And then like we went and there was like a plate of cookies in one of the little hotel rooms that we went and looked at. So there has to be enough people who take up on the offer that it justifies the expense and the
Yeah.
time.
So what are the packages? $1,000,
I don't remember.
three, $2,000, let's say, for a package, where you can go on vacation once a year. And you're paying, the salesman gets commission, and this is probably not their full-time job. So they're just looking for some fun money. And you got to figure, like, if I'm that kind of guy, I want to make $1,000 a weekend. If he's getting 10%, he needs to sell 5 packages a weekend to justify his time, at least. But then the cost of the company, so the tickets are $80. Obviously, they have some kind of agreement with the hotel to get the lower prices. That's what you're buying into. So, hotel room, $100 a night for, 3-day stay, and then whatever event you're going to, kind of deal. So you gotta think that coming out the other side, they're recouping, $1,000 to $1,200, $1,400 per sale if the sales are $2,000, and that has to pay and that covers the expenses of your ticket and your whatever the cost of your actual vacations are.
Well, and so like,
so they have to get like 20 or 30 people a day to be like, yeah, it sounds like a great deal.
Well, so also the places they give you discounts to, they're in on it too, right?
Yeah.
Like Rio's, I guarantee that your meal doesn't cost them $40.
No, of course not.
So they will take a couple
it's
dollar
like the
hit.
Groupon. That's the other thing is like Groupon exists now. So next week I'm going to go visit my sister in Portland, and I stayed in an Airbnb because I found an Airbnb that's like literally right around the corner in the same neighborhood that she is. So like I'm not going to rent a car. I'm just going to go ride with her. I'll Uber over to there and then walk over to her place, and we'll go spend some time together. But like my Airbnb is like $40 for 4 nights, so it's like $120 and maybe $160 after all of the taxes and fees and everything. And then my plane ticket was fucking $200 or $300. Like this whole vacation just to get there and back has cost me less than $500. And so I did all this work this weekend to like build up. I have, when I get back, I'll get all these checks for this work. So it's like, yeah, whatever dinner we're going to go get, whatever events we go see or museum, whatever we have to pay for, I'll pay for. But even that, I can't imagine that that's going to cost me more than another $300. So we're talking about maybe on the high side, $800 for a simple basically a weekend getaway type vacation.
Yeah.
And these people want you to do $2,000 or whatever in order to get that. And it's just like,
well, but they justify it by selling you this lifestyle that you don't live. Well, you could go on 4 or 5 vacations a year. Who has PTO for 5 vacations a year?
Yeah. Yeah, I could go on five vacations a year if I didn't take vacations for the last 5 years. Well, if your job isn't the kind of place where they go, if it's a use it or lose it. Because like the last job I had, you could only roll over like 100 hours a year.
Yeah, well, even so, like there's PTO, and then if you have your hotel room, that doesn't include all of the things you're going to go do while you're on vacation. You're going to go to a knick-knack shop and buy tchotchke shit. You're going to eat out. So who can afford? I can't. I can't afford even if I stayed somewhere for free, the amount of like the gas to get there or the plane ticket to get there, the amount of stuff that you do while you're there, you're going to go do something like you're going to see a movie, you're going to go to some attraction, whatever it is you're at.
Mm-hmm.
You know, vacations other than just the housing are just expensive, man. Who other than some
That's why
rich
they're worth
asshole?
it.
Well, and who other than some asshole who's really rich can afford? And if you're rich enough that you can afford
You're
all
not
the
buying these
extras,
packages.
you're not buying that packages. You're just going on vacation. You've got a boat somewhere, and
Yeah.
you go to the weekend, or you drive to the beach twice a month, and take 2 weeks of vacation every couple of months or whatever. You know, it's just it's predatory.
It is predatory.
And it's predatory from those little ambush motherfuckers who sit in storefronts and hit you with, "Hey, would you like to go to Rio's for free?" Why? And then suckers like me come by. Why? Yes, I would. And then man, I'm not even mad about the sales pitch. I'm mad about the 4 hours I spent there.
Yeah.
If they could, because think about it, if they had saved
That has to be a
themselves,
psychological thing.
it must be.
Yeah.
If they had just like walked in like, "Hey, watch a 20-minute commercial about what we do. We're going to spend 15 more minutes making you this hard sell. Here's a plate of cookies while we're talking. Are you interested?" If I was interested, that would be enough.
Yeah.
I don't like, so there's this weird expansion of how much time we're spending like touring hotel rooms and talking about like, and they have people that'll sit and talk with you about like, "Oh, what kind of vacations would you like to go to? Oh, you have grandchildren. What are your grandchildren's names?" And this person like builds this rapport with you. It's all, man, it's they all just need to die.
They do. And I'm surprised the store's okay with, like, the Walmart is okay with a guy standing out there fucking badgering customers.
They get a cut.
Yeah.
I guarantee you they get a cut.
Or the general manager of that specific store gets some kind of like kickback. "Hey, we'll give you free tickets to Geno's every fucking week as long as you let our guy sit out here and hawk his shit. And he won't bother regulars, he'll only bother the tourists."
Yeah, I don't know. But like, it wasn't just at Walmart. It was like we tried to go into like, there's a little Christmas store because Aunt Buck is really into Christmas and her dad's really into Christmas. And so it's like a Christmas shop all year round. And of course, Aunt Buck's mom passed away. She wanted to get this little custom ornament made for her mom or whatever. And it was really special and it was really cute. Motherfuckers were sitting in there. Like, there's Santa and his elves. And also, would you like to buy a vacation package? It's, I just,
Yeah, so they have to be paying those people. They have to be paying those people hourly, I would think. Unless
Probably.
unless their flyer has their name stamped on it, and everyone you get to show up, you get like $5. That's
Yeah.
the thing is like it. Hey, so when I was in middle school or early high school, there was this ad in the Tulsa World that you could go sell subscriptions. Like, a guy would come pick you up from your house and take you over to some neighborhood, and you could go sell
And
subscriptions.
he'd rape you. Yeah.
to the Tulsa World, and I made it about 2 hours of a 4-hour shift or whatever it was, because he took us over to East Tulsa, which is not the nicest neighborhood,
Sure.
and we're just going door to door knocking, asking if people want a subscription to the Tulsa World, and the answer is always no, because who the fuck wants the Tulsa World? And so I got pretty disheartened pretty quickly of people telling me no, or just not answering the door. And then he's like, "Well, you gotta pitch them, you gotta sell them." And it's like, well, they don't want it, man. They don't want it. I'm not the kind of person, if you don't want a thing, if you don't want, here's what I don't get, I can't sell it to you. That's not my mindset, because I'm not the type of person that if I don't want something, you can sell it to me. So I can't activate that part of someone's brain, because I don't have that part of my brain myself. So, but I do think that the type of person that tries to sell someone like me, because I would think a good salesman would look at me and go, after a quick back and forth, would realize
You're not a mark.
I can't move this rock, and would give up. But like, those people will keep going, and I think that takes it takes evil. You have to have evil in your heart to be able to do that kind of thing, because it's one thing. I think advertising in general is evil, but it's one thing to sell someone something that they need. It's another thing to be predatory and try and con someone into something that they don't want or need.
Yeah.
Like it's one thing for, them to advertise laundry detergent on TV and be like, Gain has the best smell, Downy is the softest, Tide is the cleanest. Like, that's all well and good. Those are things that people do need. They buy them. You will convince stupid people to change their brand based on your advertising. But like things like, oh, you need to buy this luxury vacation package. Like, that's not something anybody needs. You're just scum. The
Yeah.
people that call you and try and get you to buy a car's extended warranty that they'll never honor, those people are scum. They're evil.
Yeah. Also, their calls wake you up when you're on third shift. So that's my issue.
That's a good issue. Well, this has been Here's What I Don't Get. I'm Tab Burt.
I'm Uncle Buck.
We'll catch you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
If you want to call into the Here's What I Get hotline, call us at 704-750-9434 and tell us what you don't get. Or you can visit us in the Discord under voicemail upload. We don't have any voicemails in Discord this week, but we do have some voicemails from the voicemail hotline. And I hope a bunch of them aren't that fucking lunatic who's calling with their grocery list, because I'm not playing them anymore.
I don't hear anything.
I haven't hit play yet. I'm waiting for the page to load. I forgot to load it before we started the show.
Oh.
So I was just
man, we're
leaving
having
silence. So it'd be
technical
easy to edit.
difficulties.
Just this Mac computer that just works. Just problems with that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's yellow.
Man, I had a dickens of a time trying to get this interface set up today.
Actually, we just have the one voicemail from Sage here this week. So let's
Oh,
hear it.
wow.
Yeah, what I don't get is those speed is enforced by aircraft signs that for whatever reason, on this little road trip I'm doing, it's like that's bullshit, right? I mean, yeah. Okay.
You've seen those signs.
Yep.
Speed
Virginia.
enforced by aircraft. Yeah.
In theory, they're enforced by something like something flying up high that can look down and see you passing by little white lines on the side of the road, and then judge your speed by that. If they meant business, they would enforce those laws with like an F-16.
Yeah. It is real, because my stepmom got a ticket enforced by aircraft. pulled over way on down the line, and it was like, you got clocked by the airplane. That wasn't from Sage. I don't know why I thought that was from Sage.
I mean, like if they really want you to not speed, just pick one motherfucker a day and like just give them a J-dam right through the hood of their car. Boom, speed again, bitch.
Speeding is not a crime.
I'm just saying, if they want to enforce the law,
speeding should not be a law. There should be no law. It should just be like, just drive as fast as you want. School zone, fuck them. We have red lights. We have methods of reducing speed that aren't stealing from people.
If the F-16 or A-10 and his laser guided pick hole doesn't hit your car because you went too fast, you just get away.
Yeah,
that should be the game.
I think the F-16 should target exclusively cop cars.
They're not going to target their own.
Yeah, they should though.
So then what you have to do is everyone has to dress up their car as a cop car.
That's a good idea. Put one of those 328 on the top of your car and just drive around. Oh,
and then when you see a cop car pulling someone else over, you pull in behind the cop car and pull them over, and then someone else pulls in behind you, and it just. At what point does the madness resolve itself? And so there's this string of cop cars like a funeral procession going through town trying to pull each other over. Madness, chaos. Send your F-16 now.
All right, I've got one here that's actually for you from last week that we almost played, but then we didn't.
Hey, this is Uncle Buck. Dead Helm here. And you left the thing about people not flashing their brights. Growing up in Central California, man, nobody flashed their brights. Cops were just assholes, pulled people over. And then the first time I went to my grandparents' house up in Yosemite when I was 12, they flashed their brights. And I never understood the concept up until, there's a cop around the corner, and everybody's doing 70 on a 2-lane highway on the side of the mountain. So yes, I absolutely feel you. And back to Tab. Also, you mentioned there was a speed trap town, and fuck those towns. Town I moved to here in Texas is very much like that. Currently, you've got 3 cops set up in whatever corner out in front of the fire station, at the biggest gas station in town, and at the church. And they're waiting because school's out to motherfuck people. And they did it last summer to me, and they're going to do it to lots of fucking people. They pulled over 5 motherfuckers today. And gotta say, I feel for you there. Stay furious.
So the first mistake you made was growing up in California. The second mistake you made was growing up. You should have killed yourself immediately. I'm joking, obviously.
I did find out, I think on that episode, I said that I didn't know what the motorcycle sign was. It's patting your helmet twice. That's the signal for that there's a cop up ahead. So, and you usually get it from an oncoming guy. He'll be like...
I just like you see a motorcycle guy, and instead of flashing lights, you stick your head out the window and pat your head twice, and then flip them off.
I
Good
drove.
boy.
So I lost my keys to my motorcycle on Tuesday. I was going over to a friend's house for their birthday. We were sitting on the back deck drinking after Joel and I recorded the episode, and so I got an Uber, and I like ran upstairs to go get in the Uber, and I have a key. I have like a single key to my house. And that's my, like, I'm not driving key.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, when I fly, I'll put that key in my bag so that I can get back into my house when I get home instead of taking, like, a whole set of keys and risk losing it. Yeah. And so I couldn't find that key. And I, like, the last time I used it, I didn't put it back in the key bowl, I guess. And so I was just like, oh, I'll just grab my motorcycle keys. So I grabbed my motorcycle keys, and the guy's waiting outside, and I was like in a rush, so rather than put them in my left pocket where I normally put them, I guess I put them in my right pocket, and I got in his car and I pulled out my phone at some point, knocked the keys out of my fucking pocket, and they were lost in his car for like 2 days. So I finally got them back on Thursday, and I immediately went to a locksmith and had 4 copies made so that never
you could lose those
happens
around
again.
town, and someone can steal your motorcycle.
Yeah, but more importantly, I drove my car for those 2 days. I fucking hate driving a car now. Sucks. Everything about it. Like, I'm sure when it gets hotter and it's like really hot, I'll be like, yeah, I'll drive again because the AC. But right now, I'm just like, the weather's been beautiful. I've been just fucking cruising everywhere I go. It's awesome.
Yeah, North Carolina has done nothing but rain, so fuck you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. We sent that. We sent it from here. Put our big
I wouldn't
weather
doubt
machine. The big arch, it's actually an Illuminati weather machine that keeps it from raining in the city of St. Louis. All these like rainstorms will come and they'll get close to the city of St. Louis and they'll kind of break in half and then meet back up in Illinois, just like completely purge around. It's really weird.
Yeah, I want one of those.
Yeah. You guys should build one. The Arc of Statesville, Statesville Arch.
We've already got a 3-headed witch painted in the city, the Civic Center. So yeah, it'd be nothing new.
Build it even taller than ours. Ours is 1,200 feet tall. Fuck you, St. Louis.
Our arch is a mile high, and I'm going to jump from the top of it. All right.
That's all right. See you later, everybody.
See you. Bye.